Hello everyone! Are we doing this again? Yes, we are! Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond Doctor Who Commander Deck. And it apparently contains the Doctor's greatest villains. Now then, like I said in the previous video about this franchise, I know next to nothing about it. I know some basic stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Masters of Evil. I do know that this is a Dalek. Exterminate. That's it, right? Right. Let's take a look here. And we get Plane Chase as well again. So I actually, when I opened up the previous one, I actually really enjoyed, seeing those new cards. I actually played, I'm doing this again. I'm opening it up the wrong way again. I actually played with the other deck and I really enjoyed it. It can go rampant real fast. I mean, with all the historic triggers that you get, it's really an insane deck. But let's take a look if this deck can top it. Who knows? All stuff is falling out here. Right, let's just take a look at what we get. We get some punch outs again, as always. We had a nice die, again, with the yellow and the blue swirls in there and some sparkles, because you need a die for that. We get a dial again, from 1 to 40, with some unique art on there. Then we get the Sample Collector Booster Pack, and I'm really hoping for some alt art stuff in here and not the same as we had last time, the extended art. I don't mind getting, that's, the wording is a bit wrong there. I really don't care for the extended art. There, I said it. Well, but not the alternate art. Anyway, planes. Let's go over the planes first, shall we? Because this is what really can tip the game out of balance. We have the City of the Daleks. So whenever you attack, your opponent loses X life, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Chaos. For each opponent, you create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace that attacks that opponent this turn if able. Those tokens gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. The Moon Base. Alright, so we get the Moon. Oh, this is, of course, for the plane Scarrow. And I don't know much more about that, but the Moon. I'm familiar with the Moon. I've seen it. The Moon Base. Low gravity. All creatures have for 2. This creature gains flying until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Interesting. And Chaos. For each opponent, choose up to 1 target creature card in your in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield face down under your control. They're 2/2 Cyberman artifact creatures. Dalek Intensive Care. What? The Dalek Asylum. When you planeswalk 2 Dalek Intensive Care and at the beginning of your upkeep, exile a non-Dalek creature you control. If you do, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace. It gains haste until end of turn. Chaos. Target Dalek you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Bowie Base 1. At the beginning of your end step, goad target creature controlled by the player to your left. And Chaos, target creature gains Island Walk until end of turn. And this is on Mars. Then we have a Transalore, the Doctor's Tomb. We have seen this one in the previous deck. Aplon Mortuarium, Alfava Metraxis, Byzantium Radiation. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an exposure counter on Aplon Mortuarium. When you lose life equal to the number... then you lose life equal to the number of exposure counters on it. So it's like radiation. It is radiation. It says so over there. Chaos. Create 2/2 black alien angel artifact. Oh, I have seen that episode. The Weeping Angels. friend of mine, he said it was a really good episode. We watched it, and it was actually a good episode. It really was. I liked it. Right, Unleash the Flux, a phenomenon. When you encounter Unleash the Flux, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent and you flip a coin. If you lose the flip, repeat this process. The Matrix of Time on Gallifrey. When you planeswalk to the Matrix of Time, each player exiles the top card of their library. During your turn, you may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled with the Matrix of Time. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from among cards exiled with the Matrix of Time, that card's owner loses 3 life and exiles the top card of their library. Chaos, create 2 treasure tokens. The Hotel of Fears, spacecraft. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You lose life equal to the mana value. You may play that card this turn. And then praise him for chaos. Choose a color. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Where X is your devotion to the color. Then sack another creature. Nice. And we have another spacecraft plane card. Mondasian Colony Ship. Whenever a creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other creature it controls. Its controller controls that shares a creature type with it. Chaos. Turn target creature face down. It becomes a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. Nice. So yeah, I really can imagine people not wanting to play. Sorry, my throat is still killing me. Right. I really can imagine people not wanting to play Plane Chase because it's kind of hard to get around. It's like the effects are all over the place. Right, let's take a look at the deck itself. We have our main commander here, Davros, the Dalek creator. It's a 4-mana 3/4 menace. At the beginning of your end step, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace. If an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, then each opponent who lost 3 or more life this turn faces a villainous choice. You draw a card, or that player discards a card. Nice. Then we get some tokens again, of course. We get a treasure. We get a clue. Ooh, the alien angel. This is one of the weeping angels. Ooh. Very scary stuff. Another clue. We get a mark of the Rani. Cyberman. And we get 2 cards that are absolutely useless. Ooh, there they are, the Daleks, because we haven't seen them in the previous deck, which also talked about Daleks, but it's only in the Plane Chase cards. And now we finally get the tokens of the Dalek. Another mark of the Rani, another Dalek, copy, Dalek, Cyberman, Dalek, copy, Dalek. Right. And with that out of the way, we can take a look at the deck. As our second commander choice, we have Missy. She's a Time Lord rogue. I haven't seen the show, but apparently this is a villain or so. So the deck says, all about the villains. It's a 4/5 for 6. Whenever another non-artifact creature dies, return it to the battlefield face down, tapped under your control. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. And at the beginning of your end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice. Right, so this is about villainous choices. Each artifact creature you control deals 1 damage to that opponent. Or you draw a card and chaos ensues. Okay, so this is really about the planner deck. We have seen some cards in the previous deck as well about that. Renegade Silent for 4, it's a 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, goad up to 1 target creature you don't control and put a +1/+1 counter on Renegade Silent. It phases out. Zygon Infiltrator for 3, 3/2 with body print. For 3, tap another target creature and put a stun counter on it. Zygon Infiltrator becomes a copy. Ooh, nice. I can see how that happens. Don't blink. Ooh, another scary card. For 2, it's an instant. Until end of turn, if 1 or more creatures would enter the battlefield from exile, or after being cast from exile, target owner's No, wait. Their owners shuffle them into their libraries instead. Cycling 2. Exterminate. See, that's what they say. I knew it. For 3, it's a sorcery. Replicate. Tap an untapped Dalek you control. Destroy target creature. Its controller loses 3 life. Dalek Squadron. It's a 3 mana 3/3 menace. Myriad. Sontaran General. For 5, it's a 5/5 trample haste and battalion. When it and at least 2 other creatures attack, for each opponent, go up to 1 target creature that the player controls. Those creatures can't block this turn. Great Intelligence's Plan. For 6, it's a sorcery. Draw 3 cards. Then the opponent faces a villainous choice. They discard 3 cards, or you may cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. Cyberman Patrol. For 2, it's a 2/2. Artifacts you control have afflict 3. Ooh, whenever a creature with afflict 3 becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. Oh, that's interesting. Cybermat. For 2, it's a 2/1 Skulk. When it attacks and isn't blocked, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking artifact creatures. Clockwork Droid. For 2, it's a 3/1, and you may exert Clockwork Droid as it attacks. When you do, it can't be blocked this turn, and you scry 1. Midnight Crusader Shuttle. For 4, it's a 3/4 Crew 2. Midnight Entity. Whenever Midnight Crusader Shuttle attacks, defending player faces a villainous choice. That player sacrifices a creature, or you gain control of a creature of your choice that player controls until end of turn. If you gain control of a creature this way, tap it and it's attacking that player. A laser screwdriver instead of a sonic screwdriver. So what does it do? For 3, it either taps for mana. For 1 and tap target artifact. For 2 and tap survey 1. For 3 and tap goad target creature. Arcane Signets, Soul Ring, Thought Vessel. These are all reprints, of course. Mindstone, Lightning Greaves, Propaganda, Auton Soldier. This is a new one again. For 6, it's a 0/0. You may have Auton Soldier enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it isn't legendary, is an artifact in addition to its other types, and has a myriad. The Flood of Mars. For 4, it's a 3/3 Island Walk. Water always wins. Whenever the Flood of Mars attacks, put a flood counter on another target creature or land. If it's a creature, it becomes a copy of the Flood of Mars. If it's a land, it becomes an island in addition to its other types. Nice. Cyber Conversion. For 2, it's an instant. Turn target creature face down. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. This is a nice way of getting rid of commanders. Hunted by the Family. For 7, it's a sorcery. Choose up to 4 target creatures you don't control. For each of them, that creature's controller faces a villainous choice. That creature becomes a 1/1 white human creature and loses all abilities, or you create a token that's a copy of it. Dalek Drone. For 5, it's a 3/3 flying menace. Exterminate. When Dalek Drone enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls. That player loses 3 life, and it has Elevate. Okay, I don't know if they actually say that. Vashta Nerada. For 3, it's a 1/1 indestructible Shadow. Yes, shadows are back. But it's not a legendary creature. Oh. But it has a name. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Vashta Nerada. Time Reaper. For 5, it's a 4/4 flying haste. Consume an anomaly. Whenever Time Reaper deals combat damage to a player, put target face-up card they own in exile on the bottom of their library. If they do, you gain 3 life. Doomsday Confluence. For double X and black sorcery. Choose X. You may choose the same mode more than once. Each player sacrifices a non-artifact creature, or create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace, or each opponent discards a card. The Toymaker's Trap. For 3, it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, secretly choose a number between 1 and 5 that hasn't been chosen. If you do, an opponent guesses which number you chose. Then you reveal the number you chose. If they guess wrong, they lose life equal to the number they guessed and you draw a card. If they guess right, sacrifice the Toy Maker's Trap. Vizsla Turlo, and this is a legendary creature. I'm wondering what it is about the other one, the alien guy. Please let me know in the comments down below. So this is for 4, a 2/5, and it is a Doctor's Companion. Interesting. Deal with the Black Guardian. When Vizsla Turlo enters the battlefield, you may have an opponent gain control of it. If you do, it's goaded for as long as they control it. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Genesis of the Daleks. For 6, it's a saga. Chapters 1, 2, 3. Create a 3/3 black Dalek creature token with menace for each lore counter on Genesis of the Daleks. Ooh, that's interesting. And therefore 4, chapter 4. Target opponent faces a villainous choice. Destroy all Dalek creatures and and each of your opponents loses life equal to the total power of Daleks that died this turn. Or destroy all non-Dalek creatures. Then we have This Is How It Ends. For 4, it's an instant. Target creature's owner shuffles it into their library, then faces a villainous choice. They lose 5 life, or they shuffle another creature they own into their library. Death in Heaven. For 4, another saga, 3 chapters. The first 2 say target player mills 2 cards, then exiles their graveyard. And then chapter 3, put all creature cards exiled with Death in Heaven onto the battlefield, face down under your control. They're 2/2 Cybermen artifact creatures. Ooh. Delete for 2 and X. It deals X damage to each non-artifact creature and each player. Ensnared by the Mana. For 4. Sorcery. Each opponent faces a villainous choice. They exile cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Then you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Or that player exiles the top 4 cards of their library, and Ensnared by the Mana deals damage to the total mana value of those exiled cards to that player. Day of the Moon. For 3. It has 3 chapters and they're all the same. Choose a creature card name, then goad all creatures with a name chosen for Day of the Moon. The Master Multiplied. For 6, it's a 4/3 Myriad. The legend rule doesn't apply to creature tokens you control, and triggered abilities you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile creature tokens you control. Sweet. The Master, Mesmerist. So, what I do know about the Master, a little bit of a in-between comment, I do know that this works the same as the Doctor. They get, well, I want to say reborn, but they don't, into different incarnations. So, here we have the Mesmerist, the other one was Multiplied, and this one is for 4, a 3/3, and if you tap it, target creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the Master's power gains Skulk until end of turn. Goad it. Whenever a creature with Skulk deals combat damage to one of your opponents, put a +1/+1 counter on the Master and draw a card. Next up, Razalon, the War President. For 5, it's a 3/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 2 life and exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Then each non-creature spell you cast from exile has Conspire. Next up, the Master, Gallifrey's End. For 4, it's a 4/3. Make them pay. Whenever a non-token artifact creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, choose an opponent with the most life among your opponents. That player faces a villainous choice. They lose 4 life, or you create a token that's a copy of that card. Then we have the Veil Yard. For 5, it's a 4/5, and If an opponent would face a villainous choice, they face that choice an additional time. Oh, nice. And while voting, you may vote an additional time. So this is really, that's a nice card actually. I like it. And you can build a deck around it with villainous choices or votes. It's really a political guy. I like it a lot. Hey, we have a Weeping Angel. An actual Weeping Angel. For 3, a 2/2 flash, first strike, vigilance. Whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, Weeping Angel isn't a creature until end of turn. Okay. If Weeping Angel deals combat damage to a creature, prevent that damage, and that creature's owner shuffles it into their library. Nice. Very cool to see. And as I have seen during the opening, during the discussion of the professor, the Tolarian Community College, they discussed why it didn't have flying, because in the lore of Doctor Who, it doesn't have flying. Right, we have the Beast, the Deathless Prince. The Beast, is this like the devil or something? It's a 4 mana 6/6, that's nice. When you cast this spell, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap it. It gains menace and haste until end of turn. The Beast enters the battlefield tapped with 6 stun counters on it. Ah, okay. Makes sense. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to its owner, untap the Beast and draw a card. Ooh, very nice card. The Rani. For 4, we get a 3/4, and whenever the Rani enters the battlefield or attacks, create a red aura enchantment token named Mark of the Rani, attached to another target creature. Right, and that token has enchanted creature, and enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever a goaded creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, investigate. Sycorax Commander, for 4. It's a first strike haste for 2, sanctified rules of combat. When Sycorax Commander enters the battlefield, each opponent faces a villainous choice. That opponent discards all cards in their hand, then draws that many cards -1, or Sycorax Commander deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. The Cyber Controller. For 3 mana and X, it's a 3/3, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent mills X cards. Put all creature cards milled this way onto the battlefield face down under your control. They're 2/2 Cybermen artifact creatures. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. The Cult of Scarrow. For 4, it's a 4/4, and whenever it attacks, choose 1 at random. They put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact creature you control. Khan, draw 2 cards. Sek, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace. Just, each opponent loses 4 life. The Dalek Emperor. For 7, it's a 6/6 affinity for Daleks. Ooh. Other Daleks you control have haste. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, each opponent faces a villainous choice. That player sacrifices a creature they control, or you control a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace. Sweet. Ashat, the Lone Cyberman. For 4, it's a 3/3. And the first non-legendary artifact spell you cast each turn has casualty 2. And whenever you sacrifice another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Ashat, the Lone Cyberman. Blink, a saga. For 4, it's an enchantment. Saga, of course. 4 chapters. The first 2 say, choose target creature. Its opponent shuffles it into their library, then investigate. And then the other 2, the final 2 is create a 2/2 black alien angel artifact creature token with first strike, vigilance, and whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, this permanent isn't a creature until end of turn. The Master, formed anew. Is that Steven Seagal? Nah, it can't be. For 2, it's a 0/1 Body Thief. When you cast this spell, you may exile a creature you control and put a takeover counter on it. You may have the Master formed anew enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature card in exile with a takeover counter on it. Nice. Cyberman Squadron. For 7 a 5/5 and non-legendary artifact creatures you control have Myriad. Cyber Ship. For 6 it's an 8/8 flying. Whenever Cyber Ship deals combat damage to a player, put the top 2 cards of that player's library onto the battlefield face down. They're 2/2 Cybermen artifact creatures. Crew 4. Wound Reflection, and these are again reprints. I'm not going over these by text. Blasphemous Act. Solemn Simulacrum. The Sound of Drums. Is this a reprint? I don't think so. For 3, it's an aura. Enchanted creature is goaded, and if enchanted creature would deal combat damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. And then for 3, return it from the graveyard to your hand. River of Tears. Foreboding Ruins. Shadowblood Ridge. Smoldering Marsh. Temple of Deceit. Choked Estuary. Sunken Hollow. Darkwater Catacombs. Fetid Pools. Temple of Malice. Canyon Slug. Sloof. Exotic Orchards. Temple of Epiphany. Frostboil Snarl. Storm-Carved Coast. Fiery Islet. Lava Claw Reaches. Shipwreck Marsh. Drowned Catacomb. Haunted Ridge. Dragon Skull Summit. Creeping Tar Pit. Gallifrey Council Chamber. This is a new card. When it enters the battlefield, survey 1. Tap for colorless. And tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend it only to cast a Time Lord or alien spell, or activate an ability of a Time Lord or alien. Feed the Swarm. Snuff Out. Nice. With a new reprint of Snuff Out. Very cool. Very powerful card. From Arcadian Masks. Beautiful. Commander Sphere. We have a Wayfarer's Bauble. Talisman of Dominance. Talisman of Indulgence. Command Tower. Terramorphic Expanse. Thriving Moor. Path of Ancestry. Temple of the False God. Reliquary Tower. We have Crumbling Necropolis. Ominous Cemetery. And of course we have the basic lands. Oh, and there are only 6 of them in the deck. Very cool. Right. Next up, the sample booster. Let's see what's in here. The first card is the Master Gallifrey's End. We have seen that. And again, it is an extended art. I don't like that. And next up is another extended art. Flash Duplicate. Ooh. Have we seen this one? I think we have, actually, in the previous deck. Yeah. Oh, well. That's it. Well, we have 2 more decks to go. I don't have them yet, but I will get them sooner or later. And then we can see what the rest of the decks are like. So, thank you all very much for watching and for sticking all the way through the end if you're watching this. Join the Patreon if you haven't done so already. It will really help out the channel. And if not, leave a like, comment. It all helps the channel tremendously. So thank you all very much for watching and see you all next time. Bye bye.